All right, today we're diving into something really wild, an idea that's so radical it could completely change how we see everything. What if the universe isn't really made of stuff at all? What if it's made of information, a kind of blueprint? We're going to explore a framework that redefines not just physics, but reality itself. And trust me, this isn't just some new theory, it's like a whole new operating system for the universe.
So let's just kick things off with a massive question, right? What if our entire scientific approach, the very way we measure and understand the world, is based on a totally flawed idea? What if the reason we can't seem to find a theory of everything is because we've been starting with the wrong math all along?
And that brings us to the core claim from our source material here. The idea is simple. For all of our amazing discoveries, modern science has pretty much hit a brick wall. We're collecting more data than ever before, but we're not actually getting any closer to answering the really big questions. We're just stuck.
Now, why are we stuck? The source argues it's because our science is built on one single idea, materialism, the belief that only physical stuff is real. And this is what the source provocatively calls kindergarten physics. By only focusing on what we can physically touch and measure, we might just be generating a whole lot of noise while completely missing the music of the universe, that underlying non-physical blueprint that gives it all its shape and meaning.
Okay, this slide just lays it all out, plain and simple. On the left, you've got our current world, materialist, objective, and it treats the universe like a dead thing, a resource we can just exploit. The source calls this the finite branch. But on the right, well, that's the new idea, a participatory, quantum-aligned science where our intent actually plays a role, and the universe is seen as a living, conscious partner. It's a complete 180 in how we see everything. So, okay, if the old way is broken, what's the new plan? What's this new blueprint? How does a participatory universe even work? This is where we stop talking about the problem and start looking at the solution. In this new model, the word science itself gets a massive upgrade. It's not our study of reality anymore. It is reality's non-physical how-to guide, the living blueprint that's constantly creating the physical world. And matter, well, that's just the physical output, the 3D printed result of that blueprint. This completely solves the fine-tuning problem in physics. Why are the laws of nature so perfect for life? Because in this view, they're being actively and continuously written into existence. So what is matter then? The source has a great name for it: condensed source light. Think of it like an add-on to Einstein's famous E equals mc squared. Energy isn't just some dumb brute force. No, it's informed, intelligent light that's been slowed way, way down to a frequency where it appears solid to us. The main thing to get here is that nothing is truly dead or empty. It's all just information, vibrating at different speeds. And check out this diagram from the source material. It shows you exactly what we're talking about. You can see how this non-physical source energy, the blueprint, is flowing down and creating our physical dimension. It's like you can literally see the information taking shape, creating the world we experience. It's a top-down model of reality, where consciousness isn't an accident, it's the cause. Okay, so that's the physics, which is mind-bending enough. But what happens when you start building technology based on this stuff? The whole game changes. You stop thinking about force and start thinking about flow. The key word here is no longer a propulsion, it's resonance. So what does that really mean? You can forget about rockets, forget about jet engines. We're talking about a completely different way to interact with space and time. So seriously, what would that even look like? Well, it would look a little something like this. The source claims this image shows a craft in a transition state. That bright white oval, that's not rocket exhaust. It's the visual effect of the craft's own frequency vibrating faster than the speed of light in our dimension. And here's the kicker. It's not moving through space. It is displacing itself. It's blinking from one spot to another, instantly. They call this process quantum snapping, and here's how it's supposed to work step by step. First, the craft matches the unique energy signature of its destination. Second, by doing that, its current physical location becomes, well, incorrect or unstable. And finally, the craft redefines its own coordinates at the quantum level and just snaps into the new location, because that's now the path of least resistance. But how in the world would you fly something like this? You don't. Not with a joystick anyway. The source calls the interface a quantum handshake. It's totally based on the pilot's intent. Their consciousness isn't just pressing buttons, it's acting as a secondary processor for the whole system, guiding the craft's energy field with focused thought. The human mind is literally part of the machine.
And this all leads to this incredible idea they call the human as hardware model. The implications here are just staggering. It suggests that consciousness is an actual, required component to make the technology work at all. That contact with these high frequencies can physically remap a person's brain. And, maybe most amazingly, that it's the intense sole focus of the pilot that literally holds the craft's structure together. So, you have to ask, right? If this tech and the physics behind it are real, why isn't it front page news? And that brings us to the final and maybe the most critical part of this whole thing, the ontological shock. So, what is an ontological shock? Put simply, it's the moment an entire civilization is confronted with undeniable proof that its fundamental understanding of reality is just plain wrong. It's the crisis that happens when we learn the universe isn't a dead, empty void, but a living, intelligent system. And the source doesn't pull any punches about what that would mean. If you prove the world is alive and conscious, then our entire way of life, which is basically built on the idea of exploiting a dead planet for resources, well, it all becomes unstable. Those systems, the source says, would pretty much collapse. But here's the thing. It wouldn't be the end of science. Not at all. It would be a total rebirth. Science would finally have the right starting point, the right tools, to start applying its rigor to all the intangibles we currently just dismiss. I mean, can you imagine scientists actually measuring the physics of intent, studying the mechanics of synchronicity, charting the flow of consciousness itself, what the source calls the source's breath? Which leaves us with one last really provocative question from the source material. If this bigger reality is out there, waiting for us, is it possible that its reveal is being carefully managed? Is it possible that humanity is being observed right now to see if we're finally stable enough and mature enough to handle the truth without completely falling apart? What do you think?